Welcome to the HFY Codex Tale. If you like our videos, keep supporting and subscribe to our channel. The last stand of a lost warrior. The wind on the alien battlefield was sharp like knives. Ash and smoke moved through the air. The ground was broken. The sky was black. Fires burned in the distance. Screams had already stopped. The silence now was worse than war. Kari stood alone. Her armor was cracked. Her shoulder bled from a deep cut. Her weapon shook in her hand. She looked around. Her team all gone. Her people had promised to fight beside her, but when the enemy came in full force, they left. They ran without looking back. Now she was surrounded. The enemy, giant machines with glowing red eyes, closed in from every side. Their metal feet hit the ground with heavy thuds. One by one, they raised their guns. Kari breathed hard. She knew what was coming. But she would not kneel, not to them. She raised her broken rifle. "Come then," she whispered. "If this is my last breath, I'll spend it standing." A machine fired. She rolled aside, barely dodging, fired back, hit one in the chest, sparks flew, it dropped, but two more moved forward. Her gun beeped. Out of power. She pulled her blade, small, dull, a warrior's last tool. They laughed at her. Machines don't speak, but their eyes glowed brighter like they were sure of her death. She didn't care. She screamed and charged. But her legs gave out. She dropped to her knees. One of the machines raised its cannon. She closed her eyes. Then, boom, a flash of fire hit the machine from the side. Kari opened her eyes in shock. The machine was on the ground, its chest smoking. From the smoke, a shape appeared. Not alien. Not machine. A human. Tall with brown armor and a heavy blaster. He walked calmly, reloading as he stepped beside her. Kari blinked. "Who are you?" The human didn't look at her. He fired again. Another machine fell. Then he spoke. "Just someone who doesn't like bullies." Another machine came from behind. The human turned fast, shot once. Perfect hit. Metal parts flew everywhere. Kari forced herself to stand. "Why are you helping me?" she asked. The human looked at her now. His eyes were serious but not cold. "Because you shouldn't have to die alone." Together they moved. Kari leaned on him for support. He moved carefully, leading her toward a ruined building. Behind them, more machines arrived, but the human had laid traps, small mines hidden under dirt. The ground exploded behind them. Fire covered their tracks. Inside the building, they stopped. Kari dropped to the floor, breathing hard. The human gave her water. She drank, then looked at him. "You could have left me." "I thought about it," he said with a small smile. "But then you screamed and ran into 20 machines with a knife. I had to see how it ended." Kari smiled too, but only for a moment. Then her face turned serious again. "My people left me," she said. "I was supposed to lead them. They said they'd fight until the end." "And they ran before the real fight started," the human said. Kari nodded. "What does that make me?" "A warrior," he said, "one with more heart than her entire army." She looked at him. "You talk like a soldier." "I was," he said. "Name's Connor, Earth Force, but I left." "Why?" He paused. "Because sometimes the people you wear the uniform for don't deserve it." Outside, the machines searched. Inside, two broken fighters sat side by side. Different species. Different pasts. But something had changed. They were not enemies. Not anymore. Kari looked at him again. "I thought I had to fight alone," she said quietly. Connor checked his weapon, then stood beside her. "You're not alone now." The cave was cold. Wind howled through the cracks like whispers of the dead. Kari sat with her back to the wall. Her blade rested on her lap. Her wound burned, but she didn't show it. Across from her, Connor, still calm, checked his rifle. They had escaped the battlefield together, hiding deep in old tunnels carved during the last war. Kari knew this place once. Now it felt like a grave. She didn't trust him yet. He was human, an outsider, maybe even a spy. "Why did you really help me?" she asked. Connor didn't look up. "Told you you were outnumbered." That's not enough. You knew how to fight like us. You knew our tactics, our escape tunnels. Now he looked at her. I've been here before, he said. Why? I was sent here to stop you. Kari gripped her blade. Then why aren't you pointing that weapon at me now? Because the mission changed. She stood slowly, pain in her side. Changed how? Connor held up both hands. Listen, you think your people are fighting for honor, for peace, but they lied to you. Her voice went cold. Don't speak about my people. He reached into his bag and pulled out a small device, a recorder. He clicked it. A voice played, a high commander's voice from her own people. Use Kari's squad as bait, draw the machines out, we'll send no backup. Her eyes widened. She knew that voice, she had followed it for years. Keep listening, Connor said. If she survives, we'll say she disobeyed orders. She'll be dishonored, she's replaceable. Kari's hand dropped. The blade fell from her grip and hit the floor. They had planned her death. Not just left her, they wanted her gone. I gave them everything, she whispered. Connor turned off the recorder. I know. For a long time, she said nothing. Then her fists clenched. She punched the cave wall, blood smeared across the stone. They lied to me, used me. Her breath came fast, her eyes burned but no tears fell. Connor stepped forward. I've seen it before. You fight for a flag, a symbol, but the people behind it, sometimes they're worse than the ones you're fighting. She looked at him. Why are you still here? Because no one should face that truth alone. Suddenly, a sharp beep. Connor's hand flew to his belt. He pulled out a scanner. They found us. Kari looked around. How? He opened her armor and pointed. A small black dot blinked inside. A tracker. It was placed on you, probably before you even entered the battle. Kari ripped it off and crushed it under her boot. Outside, heavy footsteps echoed. Machines. They were coming. Connor grabbed her arm. We need to move now. They ran through the lower tunnels. The walls shook, lights blinked. Behind them, the sound of metal grew louder. Kari led them toward a narrow split in the stone. This way. Connor ducked in with her. The tunnel was tight, barely enough for two. But at the end, a light. Freedom. They reached the surface. A burnt forest stretched ahead, trees blackened by old fires. The air smelled like smoke and ash. Connor gasped, we'll never make it across that before nightfall. Kari scanned the area. I know a place. She pointed to a small hill covered in roots. Under that is a weapons vault. Old tech might still work. As they ran toward it, Kari spoke. You said you were sent to stop me. I was, Connor replied. But after I watched what they planned for you, I decided to stop them. She nodded. I still don't fully trust you. Good, he said. Trust should be earned. They reached the vault entrance. Kari placed her hand on the scanner. The door clicked open. Inside, the air was dry. The room was full of dust-covered crates, broken gear, and one working light. Connor sat on a crate. So what now? Kari looked at her blade. Then at him. They tried to make me a weapon. And now I choose who I fight for. She held out her hand. He looked at it, then shook it. No lies, no flags, just two warriors with nothing left except each other. The vault was quiet. Kari sat on the floor, her blade resting across her knees. Her armor was cracked, her body still hurt, but it wasn't her wounds that kept her awake. It was the voice. That recording, her commander's voice calling her replaceable. It kept echoing in her mind like a broken war drum. Across the room, Connor was working on a small power console. Dust fell from the ceiling every time the wind howled outside. Almost done, he said. If we boost the signal here, we can send a message off-world. Kari didn't answer. Connor looked over. You okay? No, she said flatly, but I'm listening. He smiled a little. Good enough. The console flickered. Connor plugged in his portable comm drive. Lights blinked. A small screen came to life, showing files, logs, and encrypted messages. I stole this from an officer before I left Earth Command, he said. They said it was just basic data. I didn't believe them. He clicked on a folder marked Operation Silence Level Red. Kari leaned in. The files opened. Inside were videos, messages, maps, images of captured alien warriors, her people. Some were injured, some were being experimented on. One message was marked, "Do not share with field units." Connor hesitated. "You sure you want to see this?" Kari answered with a cold stare. He pressed play. A human general appeared on the screen. His voice was calm, too calm. The alien warrior Kari is no longer necessary. Her actions were useful in controlling her people, but she now poses a threat. Elimination is recommended if she continues contact with outsiders. Kari's hands curled into fists. Use the machines if needed. Make it look like a battlefield death. No reports will be filed. The screen went black. Kari stood, eyes burning. "They wanted me dead," she said. "Not just my commanders, yours too." Connor didn't speak. He let the truth speak for itself. Kari began to pace. "I fought for honor, for peace. I believed in something bigger than myself, but I was just a tool to them." Connor nodded. "So was I." She looked at him. "Then why did you turn against them?" He looked down. "I had a brother," he said quietly. "His name was Eli. He served under Earth Command too." Kari sat beside him. Her anger paused for now. "One day," Connor continued, "he sent me a message, said something felt wrong, that his unit was being ordered to clean up a neutral village." Kari's breath caught. "Neutral, not enemy." Connor nodded. "Civilians, families. My brother refused the order. The next day, his ship exploded during routine travel." Kari whispered. "They silenced him." Connor looked at her. "I've been running since, trying to make it right, trying to find someone who still believes in justice." She held his gaze. "And now you found me." A sudden sound broke the silence. Ping! The console had picked up a nearby signal. Connor rushed over. "It's a patrol frequency," he said. "They're scanning this sector." Kari pulled her blade. "Then we move." But before they left, Connor looked at her. "You could still run, hide, let them think you're dead." Kari looked out the vault door, toward the dark hills. "No," she said. "I want them to know I'm alive." "Why?" She turned back. "So they feel fear." Outside, the sky was darker than before. Black clouds covered the moonlight. Smoke still rose from faraway fires. Kari and Connor moved fast across the dead ground. They didn't speak. They didn't have to. They were no longer soldier and stranger. They were something else. They reached an old relay tower, half buried under collapsed rocks. If they could power it, they could send a message across star systems. Connor climbed up. Kari covered him. Halfway through, a voice crackled from his comm. "This is Earth Patrol 7. We know you're out there. Surrender now and we'll make your death clean." Connor looked at Kari. She didn't blink. "Send them a message," she said. "What should I say?" She pulled out the recorder. "Play their words," she said. "Let the galaxy hear what they do in the dark." He did. The broadcast began. Across hidden channels, black market feeds, even pirate relays. And then silence. "Waiting. Hopping." Kari whispered. "If even one world hears it, we're not alone anymore." The stars above flickered like tiny fires. Somewhere, someone had heard them. And someone would answer. The signal had been sent. Now the clock was ticking. Kari and Connor had less than 6 hours before the enemy traced the source of the broadcast. Maybe less. They needed to escape the planet or die on it. Connor stared at a map projected from his wrist device. "There's a dock 5 kilometers south, mostly abandoned, smuggler ships. One of them owes me a favor." Kari wiped ash from her armor. "And if he doesn't help?" Connor looked at her with a tired grin. "Then we steal the ship." She almost smiled. The two of them moved through the ruined forest. The trees were black bones. The ground was soft with ash. It felt like walking on the grave of a planet. Every few minutes, drones buzzed overhead. Kari hid under roots. Connor held his breath. Their faces were streaked with dirt and sweat. But they didn't stop. The truth was out now. and truth has a price. By nightfall, they reached the edge of the dock zone. The old spaceport was dead quiet, cracked landing pads, half-broken cargo loaders, wind howling between metal ruins. Connor pointed. That hangar third door, he used to dock there. Kari raised her blade. Then let's see if your favor still lives. Inside, the hangar was dark. Connor knocked a pattern, 3 short, 2 long, on a metal wall. Silence. Then the wall slid open. A tall, green-skinned alien stepped out, one hand on a plasma pistol. He looked at Connor and groaned. I should have let the bounty hunters take you. Connor grinned. Come on, Brat, I still owe you drinks. You owe me a ship, Brat muttered. Kari stepped forward. We don't have time, we need your fastest flyer, quiet stealth class, we'll pay later. Brat looked at her, then at Connor. You really trust her? He asked. Connor replied without hesitation, with my life. Brat sighed. It's in Bay 4, small, fast, half-fueled. Kari turned to go. Then Brat called out, Wait, you didn't tell me she was the alien from the broadcast. Connor froze. Brat's voice grew cold. Do you know what kind of people are looking for you too? Kari narrowed her eyes. We'll be gone in minutes. But Brat shook his head. No, you won't. Then Kari saw it, a blinking red beacon clipped to his belt. A tracker. The sound of engines grew louder outside. Dropships armed close. Kari reached for her weapon. Connor grabbed her hand. Not yet. Why not? She snapped. Because if we fight him now, we lose time. Connor stepped forward. You called them Brat, but let me guess, you didn't tell them where exactly we are yet. Brat hesitated. Connor kept talking. You've got debts, you always have. Help us get in the air, and when we land on a safe world, I'll pay you triple. Brat growled, or I hand you over and get paid now. Kari stepped forward slowly. She pulled out her blade, and instead of threatening him, she offered it. This blade was given to me by my brother before he died in battle. It's worth more than any bounty. You give us one chance, just one, and it's yours. Brat stared at the blade. Then slowly he reached out and took it. Bay 4, he muttered. Go now, you've got 10 minutes before they scan this zone. Kari and Connor sprinted toward the ship. It was small but beautiful, sleek old military build, barely holding together. The engines hummed as Connor powered them up. Kari looked out the window. Flashes in the trees. They were already here. G.O., she shouted. Connor pulled the launch lever. The ship roared to life. As they lifted off, enemy fire struck the hull, sparks flew, metal screamed, one engine sputtered. Kari fired back through the rear gunner port, hitting a dropship wing. The ship spun. Connor struggled with the controls. We're not gonna make it. Kari unstrapped and ran to the engine room. Smoke filled the space. A coolant line had burst. Only one way to fix it, from the outside. She grabbed the emergency suit. Connor saw her in the airlock. No, don't you dare. She looked back, eyes calm. I'm not dying, Connor. I'm buying us 10 more seconds. Before he could stop her, she was out in space, crawling along the hull. She reached the busted panel, locked in a bypass, and reset the flow. The engine roared again. Inside, Connor screamed with relief. But outside, Kari lost grip. A shockwave knocked her loose. She floated, weightless, silent, until a metal arm shot out and caught her. Connor had gone out after her, tethered by a cable. He pulled her in. They collapsed in the airlock, both shaking. Alive, the ship sped off into the stars. Damaged, burning, but free. Connor coughed, You're crazy. Kari smiled weakly, So are you. In the silence, Kari closed her eyes. She had lost everything. But somehow, in losing everything, she had found someone. The ship floated through deep space. Silent, dark, damaged but still moving. Kari sat alone in the back, staring at the stars through a cracked window. Her hands rested on her knees, but her body was tense. Inside her chest, something felt broken. Not her bones, not her muscles. Her loyalty. Connor was at the control panel, checking the ship's navigation. "We'll reach the neutral zone in 10 hours, he said. "Once we're in, they can't touch us." Kari didn't answer. He turned to look at her. "You okay?" She finally spoke. "My people want me dead." An hour earlier, a transmission had reached the ship. Encrypted, military level. Kari had unlocked it with her old ID code. It was from her commander, the one whose voice had ordered her left behind. "Kari of Unit X-13, you are now marked as a traitor. For leaking classified battle information, you will be captured and executed under war law. Surrender now or be hunted." She had listened to the message in silence, then deleted it. But it kept playing in her head, over and over. Her people, the ones she bled for, fought for, nearly died for, had turned their weapons on her. Not for betrayal, but for speaking the truth. Connor walked over and sat beside her. "You don't have to face them," he said. "Once we reach the neutral zone, they can't touch you." Kari turned slowly. "If I run, they'll say I'm guilty." "You're not." "I know, but others won't. And what about the next warrior they throw away?" Connor stayed quiet. She was right. This wasn't just about her anymore. "Maybe you're the one they're afraid of," he said. Kari raised an eyebrow. "They tried to silence you. You didn't break, you fought back. You're what they fear, a soldier with a voice." She looked down. "I'm also tired, I've lost everything." Connor shook his head. "Not everything." She looked at him. He smiled gently. "You've got a ship that still flies, one broken human who's too stubborn to leave, and the galaxy, it's finally listening." The ship's warning system beeped. Connor stood and checked the radar. His face tightened. "We've got incoming." Kari stood beside him. "Enemy." He nodded. "Small vessel, stealth class, one of yours." She stared at the screen. "I know that ship. It belongs to Commander Urek." "The one who trained you." "Yes," she whispered. "He taught me everything." Connor narrowed his eyes. "He's not here to talk, is he?" "No. He's here to finish what the others couldn't." The ship came closer, silent fast. Then a message pinged. "This is Commander Urek. Kari, lower your shields and prepare for pickup. I do not want to destroy you, but I will." Kari stepped forward and pressed the comm button. Her voice was clear. "You taught me to never back down, to protect the truth. That's what I'm doing now." There was a long pause. Then Urek's voice returned, harder. "I taught you to follow orders. You failed. This is your last chance." Kari stared at the screen. "No," she said. She cut the signal. Connor checked the weapons system. "We can't fight him, not with this damage." Kari didn't move. She was quiet for a moment. Then she turned to Connor. "Take the escape pod, go now." He blinked. "What?" "They're after me, not you. I'll lead him away." "Stop." His voice was firm. "I didn't come this far to run at the end." She shook her head. "I won't let you die for me." He stepped closer. "I won't let you die alone." The ship shook. Urek's weapons had fired warning shots. "Make a decision," Connor said. "We run now or we fight together." Kari stared at him. She remembered all the things she'd lost. And then she looked at the one thing she still had. Him. She moved to the controls. "Divert power from life support to shields," she said. Connor grinned. "Now you're speaking my language." They launched flares, twisted the ship into a spin, flew directly into an asteroid field nearby. Urek's ship followed. Inside the rocks, the human and the alien moved like one. Kari flew. Connor handled weapons. And between them, an unspoken trust. Urek chased them, firing again and again. Then, Kari pulled a sharp turn. Connor released the last mine. Boom! The explosion echoed through space. Urek's ship was hit, spinning, sparking, disabled. Kari stared at the screen. "No life signs," Connor said. She nodded, but her eyes were wet. "I loved him once," she said softly. He was like a second father. Connor gently placed a hand on her shoulder. "I'm sorry." She wiped her face. "I didn't want to kill him. I wanted him to believe in me." "You did what you had to do." She nodded, and for the first time in days, her voice didn't shake. The ship was nearly out of power. The engines hissed, the lights flickered, warning signs flashed across every screen. But Kari didn't flinch. She stood in front of the control panel, armor cracked, blood on her neck but her hands steady. Connor sat beside her, holding a blaster and trying to keep the main systems alive. They had reached an abandoned relay station, a floating chunk of metal from the old war days. No guards, no signals, no rules. But it still had one working tower. One last chance to speak to the galaxy. "Are you sure about this?" Connor asked, voice low. Kari looked up at the black sky through the window. "We sent files, we sent evidence, that wasn't enough." She turned to him. "They need to see our faces, hear our voices, see the fire for themselves." They powered up the station's core. It took every drop of energy the ship had left. Connor rerouted the last comm channel. Kari stepped in front of the old camera. No script. No armor to hide behind. Only truth. She took a breath and spoke. "I am Kari of X-13, trained to fight, told to obey, left behind to die. I followed orders, I gave everything, but when I saw the truth, I refused to stay silent. Now they call me a traitor, now they want me erased. But I am not the only one. There are others, warriors, children, civilians left in shadows, sold, forgotten. We don't ask for mercy, we ask for justice. And we are not alone anymore." Connor joined her in frame. "This is Connor Rylan, human, soldier once, now just a man who saw too much and couldn't look away. If you hear this, help us, speak up, stand with us. The truth is fire and fire spreads." They ended the message and hit transmit all. The signal shot out, through back channels, pirate relays, old networks once thought dead. Then silence. Kari stepped back. "Now we wait." Connor gave her a tired smile. "Waiting, not the hard part." She nodded. "It's surviving what comes next." And it came fast. The radar beeped. "Ships incoming. Too many. One large destroyer. Multiple hunters. Tracking their location." Kari looked at Connor. He didn't need to say anything. They both knew. This was it. They left the relay station and returned to the ship. It barely worked, the shields were weak, weapons half broken. Kari strapped herself into the pilot's seat. "We fight, we don't win, but we fight." Connor loaded the last of their charges. "We make them remember this." As the enemy ship surrounded them, Kari activated the ship's emergency speaker. She sent out one final message. "We are the voices you tried to silence. We are the ones you left behind. We are not afraid anymore." The enemy ships gave no reply. Just weapons. Then, something happened. Another signal pinged. One ship. Then two. Then five. All unknown. All surrounding the attackers. Connor stared at the radar. "Wait, that's not enemy." Kari's eyes widened. "Those are responding ships." A voice came through the speaker. "To the traitors who call themselves heroes, your broadcast lit a fire. And fire brings light. We are with you." More ships dropped out of hyperspace. Human rebels. Alien allies. Civilians in smuggler crafts. They had heard the fire. And they had come. The battle that followed was short, but powerful. For the first time, Kari wasn't alone in the fight. She saw other warriors, once silenced, now firing beside her. Connor shouted warnings, fired back-to-back with an alien from a race he'd never met. And above them all, the relay station kept broadcasting. Their voices, their truth, their defiance. When it was over, the stars were quiet again. Debris floated through space. And their ship, barely holding together, drifted into the arms of a friendly cruiser. Kari looked at Connor, blood on his face but still alive. She whispered, "We didn't die." He smiled. No, we lived. They had started with only each other. Now they had an army of voices. The ship was nearly out of power. The engines hissed, the lights flickered, warning signs flashed across every screen. But Kari didn't flinch. She stood in front of the control panel, armor cracked, blood on her neck but her hands steady. Connor sat beside her, holding a blaster and trying to keep the main systems alive. They had reached an abandoned relay station, a floating chunk of metal from the old war days. No guards, no signals, no rules. But it still had one working tower. One last chance to speak to the galaxy. "Are you sure about this?" Connor asked, voice low. Kari looked up at the black sky through the window. "We sent files, we sent evidence, that wasn't enough." She turned to him. "They need to see our faces, hear our voices, see the fire for themselves." They powered up the station's core. It took every drop of energy the ship had left. Connor rerouted the last comm channel. Kari stepped in front of the old camera. No script. No armor to hide behind. Only truth. She took a breath and spoke. "I am Kari of X-13, trained to fight, told to obey, left behind to die. I followed orders, I gave everything, but when I saw the truth, I refused to stay silent. Now they call me a traitor, now they want me erased. But I am not the only one. There are others, warriors, children, civilians left in shadows, sold, forgotten. We don't ask for mercy, we ask for justice. And we are not alone anymore." Connor joined her in frame. "This is Connor Rylan, human, soldier once, now just a man who saw too much and couldn't look away. If you hear this, help us, speak up, stand with us. The truth is fire and fire spreads." They ended the message and hit transmit all. The signal shot out, through back channels, pirate relays, old networks once thought dead. Then silence. Kari stepped back. "Now we wait." Connor gave her a tired smile. Waiting, not the hard part. She nodded. It's surviving what comes next. And it came fast. The radar beeped. "Ships incoming. Too many. One large destroyer. Multiple hunters. Tracking their location." Kari looked at Connor. He didn't need to say anything. They both knew. This was it. They left the relay station and returned to the ship. It barely worked, the shields were weak, weapons half broken. Kari strapped herself into the pilot's seat. "We fight, we don't win, but we fight." Connor loaded the last of their charges. "We make them remember this." As the enemy ship surrounded them, Kari activated the ship's emergency speaker. She sent out one final message. "We are the voices you tried to silence. We are the ones you left behind. We are not afraid anymore." The enemy ships gave no reply. Just weapons. Then, something happened. Another signal pinged. One ship. Then two. Then five. All unknown. All surrounding the attackers. Connor stared at the radar. "Wait, that's not enemy." Kari's eyes widened. "Those are responding ships." A voice came through the speaker. "To the traitors who call themselves heroes, your broadcast lit a fire. And fire brings light. We are with you." More ships dropped out of hyperspace. Human rebels. Alien allies. Civilians in smuggler crafts. They had heard the fire. And they had come. The battle that followed was short, but powerful. For the first time, Kari wasn't alone in the fight. She saw other warriors, once silenced, now firing beside her. Connor shouted warnings, fired back-to-back with an alien from a race he'd never met. And above them all, the relay station kept broadcasting. Their voices, their truth, their defiance. When it was over, the stars were quiet again. Debris floated through space. And their ship, barely holding together, drifted into the arms of a friendly cruiser. Kari looked at Connor, blood on his face but still alive. She whispered, "We didn't die." He smiled, "No, we lived." They had started with only each other. Now they had an army of voices. The battlefield was gone. Now there was only space. Silent, still, but not empty. Hundreds of ships floated across the stars, small freighters, rebel cruisers, even old rescue crafts. Each one had arrived because of one message. One voice. Kari stood at the window of the medical ship, staring out. Her arm was bandaged. Her armor, scratched and worn, lay beside her. She didn't wear it anymore. Not because she had stopped fighting, but because her fight had changed. Behind her, Connor stepped into the room. His left eye was bruised, his shirt was torn, but he grinned anyway. "They want to see you," he said. Kari didn't move. "They want a leader," he added, "someone who lit the fire and kept it burning." She turned her head. "I never asked for that." Connor nodded. "Doesn't matter, you're what they believe in now." The door opened. A human officer entered, followed by a blue-skinned alien woman in armor. "We represent the new coalition," the officer said, "built from those who answered your call." The alien woman stepped forward. "We want you both, not as weapons, not as pawns, but as leaders." Kari raised an eyebrow. "You think I can lead armies?" "No," the woman replied. "We think you already did." Kari looked at Connor. He didn't smile this time. Instead, he stepped forward and asked, "What happens if we say no?" The officer replied, "Then we offer you safe passage, a new life, a quiet one." Kari looked down. For a moment, the idea tempted her. Peace, rest, silence. She had fought her whole life, bled for people who betrayed her, lost everything except the man beside her. And now, after all this, someone was giving her a way out. But then she thought of the others. The ones still locked in chains. Still voiceless. Still waiting for someone to say, "I see you." She closed her eyes. Then stood. Her voice was soft but clear. "I will stand, not as a weapon, but as a voice." The officer nodded. Connor sighed and shook his head with a grin. "Guess I'm not retiring after all." The officer turned to leave. But Kari stopped him. "One condition," she said. "Yes. We lead together, the human and the warrior. No ranks, no chains, no lies." The officer smiled, agreed. Weeks passed. The galaxy changed. The coalition of the voiceless began to grow. Not through power, not through armies, but through truth. Through people like Kari and Connor, fighters, survivors, rebels who had nothing left to lose and everything to believe in. One day, Kari stood in front of a great council, alien leaders, human generals, even former enemies. She wore no armor, just a plain tunic, her blade on her back, and a fire in her voice. She said only one sentence. "I was trained to die in silence, but I chose to live with a voice." The room was silent. Then applause. Not for war, but for courage. Later, outside the council hall, Connor stood beside her. She looked at him. "Do you regret it?" she asked. He laughed. "Which part? The near deaths, the wanted posters, or falling in love with someone who could break me in half?" She smirked. "All of it." He paused, looked at her seriously. "No, not a second." She didn't smile. She stepped closer and touched her forehead to his. In her culture, it meant forever. Above them, the stars watched in silence. Not as weapons, not as warriors, but as two souls who stood when the world said fall. And because of that, the galaxy would never be the same again.